what I have talked about introduction of that, have you listened? So in this particular chapter today, what we are going to see is, as in the first chapter we have converted the digital information and we are going to transmit now that digital information on the channel. But as seen in the basic block diagram of the communication system, when data comes on the channel, we are going to find out that on the channel different noises will get added. And that's why now at the receiver end, out of the amount of information what we have transmitted at the transmitter end, how much amount of information actually we have received, that we have to check. And that's what is the aim of our second chapter, which is named as information theory. Shall I proceed?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay. So the ultimate purpose of any communication system is what? Carrying the information which is present in any baseband signal over the communication channel. And that's why in information theory, we are going to check for the fundamental limits of the communication. And in that limit, we are checking for how much that communication is reliable when we are transmitting that over the noisy channel. And the best example to understand this is whenever we are using our telephone lines, on the telephone lines, how clearly the audio signal we are going to receive out. So if there is some murmur in the sound, or there is some another audio signal that has been got mixed with, which we are experiencing majorly in rainy seasons, those all things will be included for checking the limit of any reliable communication. And that's why this information theory has been put forth in our digital communication study. So theory is a branch of probability theory actually, which is going to study about the communication system, and that study in form of a mathematical modeling and analysis of the communication system. And when this mathematical model will be done, the source which is generating the information, the channel which is carrying that information, and again the another end where that information is going to be received, those all things have to be shared out and presented in the model of that communication system. But basically, to get the information to be pointed out, the two parameters are very important out of this model blocks. And those parameters are nothing but the source which is generating the information is carrying that information. And as we are saying that our is going to carry the digital information, that's why we have those source channel named as the and the binary symmetric channel. So binaries will be the device which is two possible type of symbols, that is zeros and one. And when it is generating that symbols per second, how many number of such symbols it is generating, that is also important, because based on that the data rate of the system is going to be defined, and this data rate will be also said to be the bit rate for the system. So here the binary source is characterized by the parameter of R, which is said to be the data rate or bit rate of generation by that source. Whether the term of bit rate or data rate is clear to you? Hello friends, are you getting the bit rate? Ankita? Ankita, are you
Yes,
there?
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Have you got the term bit rate?
Yes, ma'am.
What is bit rate?
Source code generating 0 and 1. This can be measured as per second. This called as bitrate.
Okay, fine, good. So here we have seen that every source is generating some number of symbols per second. So whatever that binary symmetric channel, and on that binary symmetric channel, we are going to transmit these symbols per time unit. And there will be the possibility whether I'm transmitting the first symbol, that only will be first taken and received by the receiver, or the second symbol what I'm transmitting will be first transmitted and it is first received by the receiver. Based on that, the probabilities that also we have to define. So in information theory, we are going to analyze the communication between the transmitter and the receiver through that unreliable channel. Why we are saying unreliable channel? Because we are not knowing whether the first symbol itself will be presented as a first received symbol, or first transmitted symbol may be also received as a nth received symbol. So that's why we are saying it is an unreliable channel. And whenever we are seeing this part, the conditions for performing the reliable transmission through an unreliable channel also we have to check out. So the source information measure, the channel capacity measure, and the coding are all related by one of the Shannon's theorem. So source information will be always measured in terms of the channel capacity and by the Shannon's theorem rules. So Shannon's theorem terms that if the information rate of the source does not exceed the capacity of given channel. So what it means? Information rate is nothing but what? The number of bits that the source is going to generate, and channel capacity is the, so if channel is having a bandwidth of 1 kilohertz, let's have an example. So 1 kilohertz means 1000 cycles per second. So with respect to this maximum bandwidth of the channel, the sampling rate what we can provide for getting the proper reliable communication should be more than or equal to 2 kilohertz. And that's how here I can send maximum of 2000 samples per second without any error to be occurred on the channel. And that's why if my source is generating 4000 bits per second and my channel is capable of only transmitting 2000 bits per second, then I cannot transmit that source information reliably. This is how we can term out from this Shannon's theorem. So to have the less error probability in the transmission of the data, the channel capacity should be always greater than the information rate of the source. Otherwise, on the channel, we will get the loss of the data which we have transmitted from the transmitter end. So the Shannon's theorem states that if the information rate of the given source does not exceed the capacity of the given channel, then there will be a coding technique which is existing, and that makes possible the transmission through that unreliable channel with arbitrarily small error rate. That's what in other words we can say, that if my information rate for the source of generation is less as compared to the channel capacity, then and then only with less error we can transmit the information over unreliable channel. We have said that every source is generating the number of bits per second. Yes or no? Yes or
Yes.
no? So
Yes,
if
yes.
I am generating with the value of R for the bit to be generated, and my channel is capable of only transmitting the C number of bits per second. For that, I have taken example of what? 1 kilohertz as a channel bandwidth. So for 1 kilohertz channel bandwidth, as its FM value is 1 kilohertz, the sampling rate, how we are defining? By Nyquist criteria. Can anybody tell me? Bandwidth of channel is of FM, right? What is Nyquist criteria? Sampling theorem.
FS is greater than or equal to twice FM.
Yes. So if I am saying channel bandwidth is of 1 kilohertz, what is FM value here? 1 kilohertz. Am I right? Yes or no? Please reply sharply.
Yes.
So if 1 kilohertz is my FM, FS minimum required will be what? 2 kilohertz, right? And 2 kilohertz FS means 2000 samples per second. So my channel is capable of transmitting only 2000 samples per second. And I'm having a signal which is of 4 kilohertz. So what I'm trying to do? I'm trying to do the transmission for 4000 number of samples to be transmitted per second. But channel is capable of transmitting only 2000 samples per second. So what about the remaining 2000 samples? So they may get lost over the channel. That means here in this situation, the rate of generation of information by the source is more, but the transmission rate by the channel is less. And because of that, we are saying that if information rate of the source is more as compared to the channel capacity, then there will be loss of data, and loss of data will be indicated by more amount of error rate. Shall I go for next point then? So Shannon's theorem says that if my information rate does not exceeds the capacity of channel, we will have less error rate even though the channel is unreliable. So in information theory, there will be 3 basic concepts that we have to cover. So below here, I have presented the basic block diagram of any communication system, which already in first chapter also we have seen. So we are having this source. From the source, the number of input bits will be generated. Those bits will be either termed as a symbols, characters, or bits also. They will get encoded by using the source coding technique. And the source coding technique we have seen in last chapter. So again, in form of digital bits only, we will get the output at the source coder output. Now, this source coded output will again get encoded by using the channel coder. And this channel coded output will be said to be the code word. This code word is utilized at the demodulator end after reception of it for checking whether on the channel error has occurred or not. That's why this channel coder will be used. Channel coder will convert this number of bits which are said to be symbols from the source coder to be converted into code word at the end of this channel coder. So in the information theory, the first concept is defining the quantity that can be valid measurement of information, and that should be consistent. So the first thing in information theory is definition of a quantity which will give me the measure of information. So there should be some parameter which should give me the measure of how much amount of information is present into that code word. The second concept is the relationship between the information and the source that generates it. So there should be some mathematical relationship setup is needed between the amount of information that has been generated and the source that is generating this information. So this concept will be referred as the source information also. So we have to know in the second part that how much amount of information actually the source has generated. So in first concept, we are defining the parameter which is going to give the measurement of information and how consistently that much amount of information will be obtained. While in the second concept, we are going to comment on how much information has been generated from the source at actual. In the third concept, we are having the relationship establishment between the information and the unreliable channel through which it is going to be transmitted. In the second part, we have established the relationship between the source which is generating and the amount of information that has got generated. Now, after the source, that information will be put on the channel, and on that channel, as we are saying, always different types of errors are going to occur or noises are to be introduced. So obviously possibility of losing the amount of information is present. So there should be some relationship set up between the amount of information presented on the channel and the channel which is going to transmit that information. And this will be termed in terms of the channel capacity parameter. And to reduce this amount of error and to increase the channel capacity, this error correction coding has to be applied. And this error correction coding generation is the task of this channel coder, which is going to generate some extra bits from the original information bits, and those bits will be going to change if there is any change in the original information bits. This is how at the demodulator end and at the channel decoder end, we can come to know that there is change happened in the information bits when it has transmitted over the channel. Up to this, the concept is cleared. What is the aim of information theory? Is it cleared? Parameter which will measure the information that we have to define. Second thing, we have to establish the relationship between the source which is generating the information and the amount of information that is generated, that mathematical relationship set up. And third thing is when the information will be put on the channel, how that is going to vary. For checking that, we have to set up the relationship between the information and the channel. So now, what is information? Generally, for information, what we are saying, whatever the data we are receiving, that all is information. But it's not true. Because in every data, you can take a sinusoidal signal itself. And we are applying now the quantization process on the sinusoidal signal. So what happens in the quantization process? Some range of the given signal will get converted to the predefined level. Let's say that from the range of 2.5 volt to 3 volt, we are going to convert that to the quantized level of 2.8 volt. So in that, even if I'm having the level below 2.8 volt, which is in between 2.5 to 2.8, or the level which is above 2.8 to 3 volt, that will be also get converted to 2.8. So here the redundancy in the information is going to be happen out. And that's why if my level is more than the predefined level, I'm going to lose information. And if my level is below the predefined level, some amount of information is going to be added with original information. And that's why here I can't say that the given whole data is itself the amount of information. Or one another example I will give you. If suppose I am saying a statement, a dog bites a man. That is usual case, right? So if we hear this case, we don't say that there is any new information in this statement. But if suppose this statement is like this, the man bites the dog. So what happens? It is an unusual thing. And because of that, people will say that there is some information stuff into that. Am I right? And this is how every data will not be the information. So the newly occurring things, or the more probability of occurrence of the thing, will not have the information hidden into that. Just like the example, dog bite the man. This is more probabilistic event, where we are listening this case at many number of times. So if the probability of occurrence of that event is more, the information content into that is very less. But if I am saying the man bites the dog, then there will be definitely less occurrences of such event. And the less occurrence of event is there, then definitely the information content will be more. And that's why in the second statement on the slide, we are saying the randomness of happening of an event and the probability of its prediction will be as a news that is known as information. So mathematically, to define the information, we will need the probability function associated with that event. And that's why we have said that we want to have a mathematical modeling to be done. And to define the information, the parameter which we are using is the probability of occurrence of that event. So the message which is associated with least likelihood event will contain maximum information. So the example of man bites dog. So this event will have less probability, but if it is having less probability, the information content will be more. So for the relationship of information and probability of event, always there is inverse proportionality exists. So if X is a message, the information content into the X message is inversely proportional to the probability of that X message. This is what the mathematical relationship between the information and probability. Now, for this information to exist, there are some axioms. Axioms means hidden hypothesis. So hypothesis for the information says that never information will be the non-negative value. That means always the information content of any event will be greater than or equal to 0. If suppose for any event the probability is 1, then in that event, there is no any information present. So if the event probability is 1, log of 1 is what? 0. And because of that, here the information content will be 0. If suppose we are having two independent events which are occurring and their joint probability is the product of their individual probabilities, then the information content of such source will be obtained as information associated with the first event plus the information associated with the second event. That means here, as they are independent events, so independently the information content from each of the event has to be taken, and those are to be added for getting the total source information content to be calculated. But this is true only if the events are independent of each other. And to explain this more, I can say, suppose my source is a binary source. Binary source means what? It is generating either 0 or 1, but only two symbols it can generate. And I am saying that at first instance, it is generating 0. So if it is seeing that whatever the previous symbol I have generated, the complemented version I am going to generate for next period. So in this case, the dependence on the previous output is present. And because of that, I can't say that these two events are independent. And if such like these events are existing, which are interdependent, for them, information cannot be found out with this rule, which we have stated in this third statement. That is, independently information associated with every event has to be found out, and then we have to take the addition of them to get the complete source information to be calculated. Now, the type of information sources that we have to see. So information source can be now viewed as an object which is going to produce the event. Such as, just I have said, the binary information source, which is going to generate either 0-bit generation event or 1-bit generation event. And the outcome of these sources will be selected at random according to the probability distribution. So if I am saying that the bit 0 is generated with the probability of 0.1. So what is meaning of it? If my source is generating 10 number of symbols, out of that, for only one time, it is generating the symbol value as 0. If the probability is 0.1. But if suppose I'm saying that the symbol 1 is generated with the probability of 0.8 and source is generating the total number of symbols that is equal to 10. So what is meaning of it? As 10 number of symbols it is going to generate, but the probability for generating 1-bit symbol value as 0.8, that means out of 10, 8 number of times symbol 1 will get generated. So this is how, for any information source, the object will produce the event, and that outcome production will be selected at the random basis according to the probability distribution. And the source symbols which are generated by the source, they will be termed as source alphabet or simply as symbols or letters also. The information sources again further categorized either as a source with memory or source without memory. So the source will be said with memory if the current symbol generation depends on what is the value of previous symbol. Just I have told you the example of, if my previous bit is 0, the next bit what I want will be 1. That is, alternate symbol generation has to happen. If this is the situation, then I should remember what is my previous bit value or symbol value. Then only it is possible to get the alternate bit value generation. And that type of source will be said as a source with memory. But when I will go for memoryless source, in that memoryless source, each symbol which is produced by the source will be independent of what is produced previously. So there is no case that if I have generated 0, next symbol should be 1. There may be possibility that train of zeros or train of ones or alternate 0 ones also will get presented, as there is no presence of memory for the memoryless source generation. One another term is included in this slide, and that is the discrete memoryless source. So this discrete memoryless source will be characterized by the list of symbols, and for every symbol the probabilities associated with it. That means every symbol will have different probability or the occurrence frequency associated with it. And also, with respect to this discrete memoryless source, its own rate of generation of symbols per second is associated. So, to define any discrete memoryless source, we should have two major parameters. One is rate of generation of symbols associated with that source, and second one is the list of symbols which are generated by the source with individual probability associated with individual symbols. Now we are coming back to the case of information content of any discrete memoryless source. So in the information content, as we have said, the content of information will be related with the uncertainty or the probability associated with that function. So probability tells us about the certainty of event occurrence. But we are saying here that information content is closely related to uncertainty. So certainty will be defined by probability function. Probability is that sure shot happening of the event, but uncertainty is not happening that event with higher surety. And that's why 1 upon probability or inverse relationship of the probability we are following for taking the information function. So we are saying that information should be proportional to uncertainty of an outcome, but it is inversely proportional to the probability of an outcome, because uncertainty and probability are inversely proportional. If I am saying probability of event occurrence is 1, then uncertainty of that event occurrence is 0. But if the event occurrence probability is 0, uncertainty of that event occurrence is definitely 1. This is how the inverse relationship between the uncertainty and probability of event will be occurring. And always the information content of any event is the measure of uncertainty of that event, and which I have explained with the example of man bites dog example, because it is more uncertain. Its probability is very less. If it is more uncertain, probability is very less. If probability is less, definitely information content will be more. So information content independent events should be added up to find out the total information content of any discrete memoryless source. As we have done in the previous example over here, for the case of I of P1 comma P2 is nothing but I of P1 plus I of P2, where the event E1 is associated with probability P1 and event E2 is associated with probability P2. And in those different events, separate information contents have got calculated and they have added to give the joint probability or the joint information content of the given source. So, as we have said, it is logarithmic function relationship setup between the information content and the probability of event. So let's say that the discrete memoryless source is generating the alphabets, that is symbols, starting from x1 up to xn. So for x1, probability may be p1. For x2, probability may be p2. Up to xm, probabilities are associated for each of the individual alphabet. Then the information content for any of the symbol x of I is denoted always with I of xi. And this I of xi is represented mathematically as log of 1 divided by p of xi, or we can write the same thing as minus of log of p of xi, because here probability talks about surety of that event occurrence, but information is a measure of uncertainty, and that's why 1 divided by this p of xi we are going to take. But this 1 divided by p of xi can be represented by taking this minus sign and writing this as p of xi for the logarithmic function. So both representation will be valid. But please note that if we are writing that in the numerator for the probability, here minus sign should be compulsorily present. But if we are mentioning that in the denominator, no need of mentioning here minus sign. So information model is represented as I of xi is equal to log of 1 divided by p of xi, or it is also represented as minus of log of p of xi, where this p of xi is nothing but the probability of occurrence for the symbol xi. As earlier said, two independent source messages, if they are represented by xi and xj, their associated probabilities will be pi and pj. So the joint probability p of xi and xj will be written as p of I into p of j, as they are individual events. So the information will be calculated for the whole source as individual event ith information content plus individual event jth information content. So there are some properties now which are mentioned for this information content, because information will be expressed in terms of probability. So information content for any event will be always 0 if probability of occurrence of that event is 1. Why it is 0? Because I of xi is nothing but log of 1 divided by p of xi. Substitute there p of xi as 1. So that will turn out as log of 1 value. And log of 1 is what? 0. Second property for information is I of xi, that is information content for any event, will be always greater than or equal to 0. For event I, information content will be more as compared to the information content of jth event, only if the probability of ith symbol is less as compared to jth symbol, because they are inversely proportional parameters for defining the information contents. And this fourth property is known to you as this is xi and xj, two symbols are independent. Now the next question comes into mind. If we are defining this parameter I in terms of probability function for the probability parameter, then what will be the unit of information? And to answer this question, we have to look for the base of the logarithmic function, because log can be calculated with respect to the base value of 2, base value of e, and base value of 10. And that's why if the logarithmic function we are calculating with the base value of 2 in the information content measurement, the unit of information will be bit. The unit of information will be bit. But the logarithm is calculated with the base value of 10, then the unit of that information will be Hartley or Dicit. And if the logarithmic function base value is e, then we have to get the unit of information to be defined as nat. Nat is also extended as natural unit. So information will have three different units based on the base of logarithmic function. If base of logarithmic function is 2, unit will be bit. Base of logarithmic function is 10, unit will be Hartley or Dicit. And if base of the logarithmic function is e, then it will be the natural logarithmic calculation and the unit will be nat. So if you are remembering, in the example of the source coding technique for Hoffman and the part of your Shannon Fano coding, while we have calculated h, I have told you that whatever answer you are calculating, for that finally you have to multiply with 3.32. ठीक आहे, मी शॉर्ट मध्ये मराठीत पहिल्यांदा एक्सप्लेन
हो
करते.
चालेल. ओके मॅम.
डिस्क्रीट मेमरी लिस्ट सोर्स जो आहे त्याचे दोन पॅरामीटर्स आपल्याला लागतात. एक असतो तो इन्फॉर्मेशन रेट जनरेशन, म्हणजेच किती नंबर ऑफ बिट्स तो पर सेकंड जनरेट करतोय हे, आणि दुसरा आहे तो किती नंबर ऑफ सिम्बॉल्स काय प्रोबॅबिलिटीनं तो जनरेट करणार आहे. ठीक आहे. मग आता इथं आपण खालच्या ह्याच्यामध्ये काय एक्सप्लेन केलंय, एक डिस्क्रीट मेमरी लिस्ट सोर्स आहे की जो x1 ते xm नंबर ऑफ काय करतोय जनरेट करतोय. मग जर तो आता x1 ते xm हे नंबर ऑफ सिम्बॉल्स जनरेट सिम्बॉलला असोसिएटेड त्याची वेगळी प्रोबॅबिलिटी असणार आहे. प्रत्येक इन्फॉर्मेशन सोर्स जो आहे तो इन्फॉर्मेशन सोर्स हा नंबर ऑफ सिम्बॉल्स अल्फाबेट आणि लेटर जनरेट करतो. त्याच्यानंतर आता सांगितलं मी काय की प्रत्येक मेमरी लिस्ट सोर्स हा दोन पॅरामीटरनी कॅरेक्टराइज केला जातो. एक असतं रेट ऑफ जनरेशन फ्रॉम दॅट सोर्स आणि दुसरं आहे की काय नंबर ऑफ सिम्बॉल्स म्हणजे किती सिम्बॉल्स तो जनरेट करतो आणि त्या प्रत्येक सिम्बॉलची प्रोबॅबिलिटी किती आहे. देन इन्फॉर्मेशन कंटेंट म्हणजे आपण काय म्हणतो, इन्फॉर्मेशन आपण कॅल्क्युलेट कशी करतो, आय ऑफ एक्स जे म्हणजे एक्स जे इव्हेंट मधली इन्फॉर्मेशन इज इक्वल टू 1 अपॉन लॉग ऑफ पी ऑफ एक्स जे. इथं पी ऑफ एक्स जे काय आहे, एक्स जे इव्हेंटची प्रोबॅबिलिटी आहे. इन्फॉर्मेशन कंटेंटची बेसिक डेफिनेशन काय आहे, तर इन्फॉर्मेशन अमाऊंट जो असतो प्रत्येक इव्हेंट मधला तो अनसर्टनिटी ऑफ दॅट इव्हेंटशी रिलेटेड असतो. म्हणजे त्या इव्हेंट किती अनसर्टनपणानं ऑकर होतोय. त्यासाठी मी तुम्हाला मगाशी एक्झाम्पल काय दिलं की कुत्रा माणसाला चावतोय, हे काही इव्हेंट कायम घडतो, त्याच्यामध्ये काय जास्त इन्फॉर्मेशन नाहीये कारण त्याची प्रोबॅबिलिटी जास्त आहे. पण जर मी म्हंटल की माणूस कुत्र्याला चावतोय तर हे घडेल का जास्त वेळा, नाहीये, कारण ह्याची प्रोबॅबिलिटी मग खूप कमी आहे. म्हणजेच हा इव्हेंट काय आहे, जास्त अनसर्टन आहे. तर असे जे जास्त अनसर्टन इव्हेंट असतात त्याच्यामध्ये जास्त इन्फॉर्मेशन कंटेंट असतो. हे ह्या 4 ओळीमध्ये आपण सांगितलेलं. आय ऑफ एक्स आय म्हणजे काय आहे, एक्स आय इव्हेंटचा इन्फॉर्मेशन. मग मॅथमॅटिकल रिलेशनशिप प्रोबॅबिलिटीशी त्याचं काय आहे, लॉग ऑफ 1/p ऑफ एक्स आय आहे. आणि जर हे 1 काढायचं असेल आपल्याला, म्हणजे हे डिनॉमिनेटर मधलं प्रोबॅबिलिटी काढायचं असेल तर इथं काय करावं लागतं, मायनस साइन प्लेस करावं लागतं. म्हणजे मॅथमॅटिकल प्रेझेंटेशन ऑफ इन्फॉर्मेशन फॉर एनी इव्हेंट विल बी गिव्हन इन टर्म्स ऑफ लॉगॅरिथम. दिस रिप्रेझेंट अनसर्टनिटी. लक्षात येते, 1 डिवाइड बाय p ऑफ xi means uncertainty and only p of xi means certainty of event occurrence. आता ह्या स्लाइड मध्ये आपण काय म्हणतोय, प्रॉपर्टीज सांगतोय इन्फॉर्मेशनच्या. मग ह्या रिलेशनशिप प्रमाणे जर समजा माझी इव्हेंटची प्रोबॅबिलिटी मी 1 सबस्टिट्यूट केली इथे इक्वेशन मध्ये, तर काय होणार आहे, 1/1 म्हणजेच 1 असणार आणि लॉग ऑफ 1 काय होणार आहे, 0 असणार आहे. म्हणजे एक्सआय इव्हेंटची जर प्रोबॅबिलिटी 1 असेल तर त्याची इन्फॉर्मेशन कंटेंट काय असणार आहे, 0 असणार आहे. आणि तेच जर मी प्रोबॅबिलिटी आता 0 सबस्टिट्यूट केली तर 1 डिवाइड बाय 0 काय होतं, इन्फिनिटी. आणि लॉग ऑफ इन्फिनिटी किती येतं, इन्फिनिटी. म्हणून इथं आय ऑफ एक्स आय काय असणार आहे, त्या इव्हेंटची म्हणजे इन्फॉर्मेशन कंटेंट ऑफ दॅट इव्हेंट काय असणार आहे, इन्फिनिटी. प्रोबॅबिलिटी जेव्हा कमी असेल त्यावेळेला इन्फॉर्मेशन कंटेंट जास्त असेल आणि प्रोबॅबिलिटी जेव्हा जास्त असेल तेव्हा इन्फॉर्मेशन कंटेंट कमी असेल. हेच इथं पहिल्या एक्झाम्पल मध्ये सांगितलंय की प्रोबॅबिलिटी जर 1 असेल तर त्याचा इन्फॉर्मेशन कंटेंट काय असतो, 0 असतो. आणि नेहमी इन्फॉर्मेशन कंटेंटची व्हॅल्यू ही ग्रेटर दॅन ऑर इक्वल टू 0 असते. ह्या तिसऱ्या प्रॉपर्टी मध्ये सांगितलंय की जर समजा एक्सआय इव्हेंटची प्रोबॅबिलिटी कमी आहे ऍज कम्पेअर्ड टू एक्सजे इव्हेंट, तर ह्या रिलेशननी इन्फॉर्मेशन कंटेंट जो आहे तो एक्सआय मधला जास्त असेल ऍज कम्पेअर्ड टू एक्सजे इव्हेंट. कारण प्रोबॅबिलिटी आणि इन्फॉर्मेशन कंटेंट काय आहेत, इनव्हर्सली रिलेटेड आहेत. म्हणजे जर प्रोबॅबिलिटी जास्त असेल, ज्याची प्रोबॅबिलिटी जास्त त्याचा इन्फॉर्मेशन कंटेंट कमी, ज्याची प्रोबॅबिलिटी जास्त त्याचा इन्फॉर्मेशन कंटेंट कमी. काय युनिट्स वेगळे, तर इथं प्रत्येक लॉगॅरिथमिक फंक्शनला बेस काय असू शकतो, वेगळा असू शकतो. आणि बेस काय असू शकतात, 2, 10 आणि नॅचरल लॉगॅरिथम साठी ई. ठीक आहे, मग त्या बेस प्रमाणे त्याचे युनिट इथं चेंज होतात. 2 जर बेस असेल तर बिट युनिट येतं इन्फॉर्मेशनचं. 10 जर बेस असेल तर हार्टले किंवा डेसिट येतं. आणि जर ई बेस असेल तर नॅट युनिट येतं. सोर्स कोडिंग टेक्निक मध्ये हॉफमन कोड किंवा जे शॅनॉन फेनो कोडिंग मध्ये एच व्हॅल्यू कॅल्क्युलेट केली ना आपण एंट्रॉपी, तिथं आपण समेशन ऑफ केलं होतं बघा, समेशन ऑफ पी आय लॉग ऑफ पी आय मायनस साइन घेऊन. आणि त्या आन्सरला फायनली मी तुम्हाला 3.32 न मल्टिप्लाय करायला सांगितलं होतं समेशन कॅल्क्युलेशन झाल्यावर. ही स्टेप आता मी इथं क्लिअर करते, कारण जे कॅल्क्युलेशन आपण कॅल्सी वरती करतो ते नॅचरल लॉगॅरिथमिक कॅल्क्युलेशन होतं. आणि नॅचरल लॉगॅरिथमिक कॅल्क्युलेशनला तुम्ही बेस जे असतं ते काय असतं, ई असतं. मग आता त्या स्टेप मध्ये कॅल्सी वापरून तुम्ही पीएक्स लॉग ऑफ पीएक्स जे कॅल्क्युलेशन करता आणि ऍडिशन करता त्यावेळेला तुमचं आन्सर हे नॅट्स पर सेकंड मध्ये आलेलं असतं. पण मला आन्सर एक्सपेक्टेड आहे डीकॉम मध्ये ऑलवेज इन फॉर्म ऑफ बिट्स पर सेकंड. म्हणून आपल्याला काय करायचंय, नॅट्सचं बिट्स मध्ये कन्व्हर्जन करायचंय. आणि नॅट्सचं जर बिट्स मध्ये कन्व्हर्जन करायचं असेल तर आलेल्या त्या आन्सरला फायनली मला 3.32 ह्या फॅक्टरनं मल्टिप्लाय करावं लागतं. आणि त्यासाठी मग हे खाली मी एक एक्झाम्पल दिलंय की ज्याच्यामध्ये आपण काय म्हणतोय की ln ऑफ a, ln म्हणजे काय, नॅचरल लॉगॅरिथम आहे. पण नॅचरल लॉगॅरिथम मला टू द बेस 2 ला कन्व्हर्ट करायचं असेल तर मला तिथं 0.6931 ह्या मल्टिप्लायरनं त्या आन्सरला मल्टिप्लाय करावं लागतं की जेणेकरून मला नॅट्सचं आन्सर हे बिट्सच्या फॉर्म मध्ये कन्व्हर्ट करता येईल. आणि हे एक पूर्ण टेबल सिंग सप्रेच्या बुक मध्ये आपल्याला इन्फॉर्मेशन थेअरीच्या चॅप्टर मध्ये आहे. पण तुमच्या प्रॉब्लेम सोल्युशनसाठी तुम्हाला फक्त एवढं लक्षात ठेवायचंय की कॅल्सीवरती केलेले कॅल्क्युलेशन्स हे आपल्याला नॅट्स पर सेकंड आन्सर देतात, जे आपल्याला कन्व्हर्ट करायचे बिट्स पर सेकंडला, आणि बिट्स पर सेकंडला कन्व्हर्ट करण्यासाठी 3.32 ह्या पॅरामीटरनं नॅट्स पर सेकंड आन्सरला मल्टिप्लाय करावं लागतं.